a secret plan that you saw?
I mean, nothing spectacular. If I had to point to anything, I would say Pritchett at left tackle and moving Gatua over to right tackle, basically taking Prohaska out. But I was with you kind of at first. I was like, yeah, he does seem like he's trying to go more, and then it just like stopped. Whether it was them overloading the line, and it was just doesn't matter how good your line is. There's too many guys to block, and the he had guys in his face or the pocket closing in before he could react and try to do anything. But even after that kind of subsided, they started throwing a little bit more quicker pass game, scheming around that a little bit, and they weren't doing it. And he had time. He still didn't really go. You know, the one play at the end where, or towards the end, where he could have hit Barney in the end zone. Seemed like he's just doing a lot of lateral side to side run and ended up taking a sack. I don't know. To answer your question, I don't really know. But I think I don't know how you feel. I'd be curious to see what you think. We were talking about it a little bit at the end of the stream. I think you actually asked the question. You said something along the lines of like, how should we feel? You didn't know how to feel after this game. Now that it's over, we got out of it. The adjustments to me is the biggest, not the only, but the biggest reason why we still find ourselves in some of these games. I feel like if we're lucky, we can get a halftime adjustment or two, but more likely it's after the game addressing things and fixing them. And by default, those are the adjustments made from week to week instead of series to series. What do you now that the game's over? They put it away. They iced it to the point where they could give up a garbage touchdown by a backup quarterback at the end of the game, still win by 11. How are you feeling? Not just after this game, but going in obviously to Maryland, but throughout the rest of the season in the Big Ten.
It could just be recency bias because of what I just saw. But right now, when I think about the other Big Ten games, I'm imagining the majority of them are going to be like this: gut wrenching, scary, but with the potential for the Huskers to pull through, which I couldn't say in years past.
Are you down? Like, are you thinking we're gonna have a worse record than I anticipated based off of what I've seen through these first 5 games, whatever? Are you thinking, about what I expected, possibly record wise, looking ahead, but not the way? The reason I'm asking is between the ups and downs, like you specifically, your ebbs and flows during that game, your highs and lows, peaks and valleys in the chat. It makes me think that like the expectations are too high, and my expectations were too high before the Cincinnati game. But I'm not saying people should have lower standards or lower expectations. I'm saying once somebody or something shows you what it is, you don't have to like it, but you kind of have to accept it at some point that like this is where they're at. You can say this is where they're at, and I just need to be patient and let them continue to progress. You can say this is where we're at. I don't like it. I want the quarterback benched. I want the coach gone. All of those things are two things are different. But do you think I'm reading that wrong, or do you think that like there's something to that this rebuild or this build from the bottom up is a slow burn built more for a long term playing chess type scenario as opposed to a hot coach that has really good players at a different division that can easily grab and bring with him up to D1 level or to FBS level. And that's probably not sustainable. You look at what Dion's doing in Colorado when he first came in, all the hype. They looked great that first year, especially that first game against TCU, and how quick that's fizzled out. Do you think that's a fair argument, or do you think it's just no? There's no more excuse at this point. We have the players to compete with the elites. We have the players to beat the breaks off of teams like Michigan State, for example. We have the coaches to do it. It's not being done. It needs to be done. Or do you think, yeah, they're still progressing and developing the guys and the positions and
It just is gut wrenching in the moment. It makes you hyperventilate a little bit in the moment. And I think it's not necessarily insulting, but it's painful to watch your team go up 14 nothing and have the feeling of, oh yeah, we can and will wax this team. And then to watch them just step on your throat and be like, no, we're going to wax you. It just puts the fear of God into you as a fan. And it's hard to overcome that. I haven't even had like an hour to decompress after that. Video is brought to you by Prophet X. Football's finally back. And this season, we're using Prophet X as our go-to for season-long plays and player props. Prophet X is America's #1 sports prediction market, where you can win real money predicting sports in 40-plus states. It's awesome because you get better odds than traditional sports books because you're playing against other people and not the house. With ProfitX, you can request your own odds, play with confidence, and get super quick payouts straight to your bank, card, or even crypto. And here's the best part. If you sign up at ProfitX.co or download the app and use promo code RANT, you'll get up to $200 in ProfitX cash on all your plays for the first 30 days. Sign up now at ProfitX.co or download the app and start winning real money predicting sports. Terms and conditions apply.
If you're not a Husker fan or you're able to take emotion out of it, you look at how that game started and you look at how that game ended and you go, yeah, Nebraska's clearly better than Michigan State. There was times in there where the adjustments were made and basically you're waiting for a counter to the adjustments to get back on track to where you were. And that's how you walk away with an 11-point win after giving up a bad touchdown to the backup quarterback. But in the moment when that's happening, when the tide changes and there's a momentum swing and things aren't being addressed or fixed at a quick enough pace, it's really easy to go doom and gloom and look back at history. And a lot of the history is before this coaching staff, this coach, and even the players on the team had anything to do with it. But it's I've been beat since I was a kid. So now this spouse or this partner in this relationship's yelling at me, and I'm thinking this is what's going to end up happening. Where everybody likes to compare. Like, oh, Penn State just lost to UCLA, so now UCLA is going to be a problem. But not one time during that live stream did I hear anybody or see anybody say, well, they did put 31 on USC last week and have them going down to the wire looking like they had a chance before USC kind of pulled away. Maybe they're a better team than we anticipated coming in. Or that Cincinnati win didn't feel great, but they just knocked off the number 14 in the country by doing basically what they did to us, just more against a team that's supposed to be better on defense because they have a defensive-minded head coach, blah, blah, blah. I think when you take the emotion out of it, and it's very hard, but being a Nebraska fan, take history, take recent, not recent, but just take history before Matt Rule out of it. It's not that crazy. Like that happens in all kinds of games. I mean, I just named Penn State lost. Texas looks like shit. They were crowned the champions before the season started because they have Manning. USC, Michigan State wasn't what you thought it would have been last week. Iowa State getting beat by a team that we beat. All of those things, when you put the full scope of college football today in perspective, there aren't a whole lot of just this team just boat races everybody for 12 straight games and wins a title. So with that, if you look at the progress that's been made from year one to now, there's going to be games that we're going to lose. There's going to be games that looks like we might lose. But overall, is it trending in the right direction? And set aside the other part of it, is it trending in the right direction at the pace you want? Because I understand that's a no for the vast majority of fans. But for me, after that Cincinnati game, once I accepted this is what the team is, now I'm just hopeful that there's incremental improvement throughout the season and not regression. And I think you're kind of getting that. It's not 100% of the time. Like, not every play's flawless. Matt Rule just said in the post game, like, we're not a perfect team. Nobody is. Nobody's a perfect team. There's something every coach can take away from every game, no matter how good or bad the team is, on things that need to be improved. But when we're seeing it in real time, we tend to tie things a little bit from the Rule era, but a lot from before that, and go, here we go again. It's the same shit. We would be ecstatic if Frost last year, instead of losing to Georgia Southern at home at night and him getting fired the next day, we were 4-1 2 games into conference play. You know what I mean? So,
and if he had beaten the brakes off of them the way we were beating the brakes off of Akron
and Houston Christian, teams like that. Yeah, exactly. And I know the people that aren't going to be willing to have a back and forth discussion are going to go, okay, you're just happy with mediocrity. Cool. We'll just all lower expectations and hope to get 500 every year. I'm not saying that at all, and you know that. But I mean, you can have your expectations what you want. But like I said during the stream, if somebody has lied to you your whole life, at some point you have to stop being surprised when they lie to you. So Nebraska shows you every year what they are. We were a team that could not snap the ball to the quarterback. Then we were a team that could not dial up a pass play because we didn't have a quarterback that could throw. The next year, we have a very legit quarterback, one of the highest producing true freshman quarterbacks ever, I think, ever in the Big Ten, but definitely last year. Bad special teams to a few games into the next year, special teams is better. You can go look at the numbers. The offensive line is progressively getting better Not great and not fast, but progressively getting better. You saw this week, the run defense was much better. Stopping the quarterback run was much better. He got us for some yards, yes. Nobody ran off more than a 20, 25-yard run on us. Definitely not 50-yard gouges for touchdowns. We used to not be able to overcome simple mistakes. Remember the Scott Frost Ireland game against Northwestern where there was like 1, 2 mistakes, that onside kick, and everything went off the rails. Rail, if throws a horrible interception, no big deal. They get it back. There's a flag that progresses and gives it, which should have resulted in the field goal, gives them a fresh set of downs in the red zone. They score. It's okay. It doesn't go off the rails. The callback on the Barney touchdown on the kickoff, things don't go off the, like, there's improvement across the board in areas, but it's small improvements. But as long as they sustain them, as long as those problems that are being fixed don't come back and become new problems, you can't argue you're heading in the right direction. Again, not the timeline everybody wants, but the progress everybody wants. So for me, it's like I know we're not going to go with just one loss the rest of the season. If we do, I'll be ecstatic. But I don't expect that, and I don't expect any game from here on out to just look flawless from kickoff to the final whistle blows. So when a team makes adjustment, it takes us a while to adjust, or when a guy misses a block, Rella throws a bad pass, holds the ball a little too long in the pocket, I'm not going to be caught off guard by it. I'll be happy when those things stop happening, just like I'm happy that we can field snaps now and we can kick field goals without thinking, God, this is a 50-50, or a litany of the other things I already talked about. Like, as long as I'm seeing progress, great. Would I like to see it faster? Absolutely. But getting so low during games when the momentum shifts the other way, or expecting that you're going to see Lawrence Phillips and Tommy Frazier come out and run the ball for 400 yards and put 50 on every team, that's kind of on the fan at that point. Why are you expecting some crazy thing that we haven't seen yet? It's fair to expect to see more of the positives you're seeing, but I don't know, man. That's just kind of my take on the whole perspective of, should we be happy or upset about this loss, or what do you expect going forward?